Spider-Man Homecoming is not a great Spider-Man flick, let alone a good one.
Even though the other guy has the brains, the jokes, and all the powers, he wasn't really Spider-Man.
But rather just talk about why Andrew Garfield's character of Spider-Man isn't as bad as everyone says it is.
Who is Spider-Man? He's a criminal, that's who he is. A vigilante, a public menace.
Who is Spider-Man? Spider-Man has been around for 57 years, since his first debut in Amazing Fantasy number 15. Since then, there have been several TV shows, movies, video games. Hell, he's a comic book, a cereal, a Christmas album. He's got his own theme song, and the So-So Popsicle. And because of all this, who Spider-Man is kind of up for debate. There have been so many adaptations of the character in different versions that I wanted to find out who Spider-Man is and what makes a good adaptation of the character. Now, obviously, I'm not going to get an exact answer, but I am curious to see what people think. So what I did was I asked some people who I know are big Spider-Man fans, and I asked them some questions. Those questions were, who is Spider-Man? What's your favourite portrayal of Spider-Man, in brackets, Spider-Person, in brackets, whether live action or animated? Why is that your favourite? Who is your least favourite? Why is that your least favourite? And what makes Spider-Man, Spider-Man? Now I'm going to save my opinions to the end, otherwise I'll just be repeating myself. Okay, let's go. Person 1. A kid from New York who was bitten by a radioactive spider. PS4 Spider-Man. It's interesting to see Peter a few years on as Spidey because he has had a few years to hone his skills and become more mature over time, while still being a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield. He wasn't awful, the movies were bad, and he didn't feel like Spider-Man. The fact that even when he has the mask and powers, he's just an everyday kid/person trying to make his way through the world. Everyone can relate to Peter Parker, and everyone can relate to trying to be a better version of yourself, like he does when he's Spidey. Person 2. Spider-Man is a fictional character made by Marvel. I would have to say Andrew Garfield version, because he is a sarcastic verge of adulthood Spider-Man, and I don't like teenage Spider-Man. I would have to say the Tom Holland version, because his version just wasn't around as long as and he's mid-teen Spider-Man. His attitude is a big part, but also his beliefs, and we can't forget the powers. Person 3. Spider-Man is a friendly neighborhood hero who G9T his powers from a radioactive spider. Best portrayal is definitely the PlayStation 4 Spider-Man. The PS4 Peter Parker is probably the most relatable and funny one. He messes up and fixes things, and he has real-life struggles that you see him deal with in human ways, and isn't a dick to everyone just because. The worst is Homecoming. He's probably the worst. He gets everything handed to him, and he has very few consequences for his mess-ups. And he's more like a Tony Stark Jr. He should have made his own suit like PS4, most of the other Spider-Man movies. He likes a lot of who Spider-Man is and how he got his abilities. I don't think anything makes Spider-Man. Anyone can be Spider-Man, but a good sense of what is right and wrong and a willingness to help anyone they can in any way they can. Person 4. Spider-Man is Peter Parker. He's quick-witted, joke-making neighborhood hero, albeit sometimes even cosmic or even multiversal scale. My favorite portrayal of Spider-Man is a tie between... I'm going to have to pronounce names. Shamelik Moore. That's how you pronounce it, I'm pretty sure. I'll do this again. Let's try this again. My favorite portrayal of Spider-Man is a tie between Shameik Moore as Miles Morales and Nicolas Cage as Spider-Man Noir. Shameik Moore because he provides the perfect portrayal of Miles' voice and expression through that voice. Nicolas Cage as Spider-Man Noir was serious but brought more humorous side to the dark gritty character. Both of these coupled with the beautiful animation made them my favourite portrayals of Spider-Man of all time. My least favourite is Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. He's my least favourite because he doesn't really fit the character. At least, you could laugh at Tobey Maguire's bad parts as his Spider-Man portrayal. Andrew Garfield was just bad. Spider-Man wouldn't be Spider-Man if he wasn't the wisecracking joker of a hero. Without his steadfast sense of justice and morality, he loses his identity as Spider-Man. Of course, there are some exceptions, such as Superior Spider-Man. Person 5.
Spider-Man is a web-slinging hero looking out for the little guy. Tom Holland, live action. As much as I love Tobey and Andrew, Tom has the best parts of both of them. He's able to portray an authentic Peter Parker and makes an amazing Spider-Man with his quips and movements, and the relationship with Tony Stark is something I never knew I needed to see until now. My least favourite is Penny Parker from Spider-Verse animated. This is because she's not the kind of character I relate to. Sure, a mecha suit thing is awesome, but that doesn't make me think, ooh, that's Spider-Man, and the same excitement as everyone else. It's just not inspiring, you could say. What makes Spider-Man for me is how hard he tries, and even though his situation may be bad, he's always positive and comes back with sarcastic comments. He's always getting back up and keeps on trying no matter how many punches are thrown at him. And I just find that super inspiring how a kid my age can do these things. Also, the fact that he's looking out for the normal everyday citizen, it has a sort of funny cop element to it, which I love. And that's what makes Spider-Man Spider-Man for me.
And then there's my opinion. So it's only fair I answer the same questions while explaining myself. Who is Spider-Man? Spider-Man is a kid who struggles in life but always tries to do the right thing no matter what happens. What is my favourite portrayal of Spider-Man and why? This one's going to be tough. Now, I haven't seen or read every version of Spider-Man. For example, I own both the Spectacular Spider-Man and the new animated Spider-Man shows, and I haven't read the Mayday Parker run in the 90s. Now, and the moment you've all been waiting for, my favourite Spider-Man is Tobey Maguire. When I was watching over the clips for this video, I found myself watching clips of Spider-Man 2, and I was thinking that this is my Spider-Man, the one from when I was a kid. It's not a Spider-Man, well, technically, but it's my Spider-Man. He's everything I thought Spider-Man to be, I suppose. Sure, PS4 and comic interpretations are both up there, but Tobey just takes the chocolate cake. Who is my least favourite and why? I'm going to start by saying this. I don't think Andrew Garfield is the worst Spider-Man. He's not great by any means, but then there's the scene on the bridge in which I watch it going, that's Spider-Man, dumb outfit and all. I also disagree with Tom Holland being the worst Spider-Man. Yes, that version has its issues. When Spider-Man returned, I wasn't like, oh, it's Tom Holland Spider-Man. I was sitting there being like, how cool is it to see Spider-Man in this amazing universe? And just saying, he did build his own suit. It's kind of trash because he's a dumpster diver. Even with Tony's tech, he's still able to bypass the system, and yeah, I kind of agree with the consequences part. Yeah, back to point. The worst Spider-Man is Spider-Man Reign. If you know what comic this is, then I don't have to explain myself. But if you don't know this comic, don't look it up. Just to sum it up, Spider-Man cannot be Old Man Logan or Dark Knight Returns. Duh. What makes Spider-Man Spider-Man? This is going to be the toughest. I realize now that this answer here that I've written here is just everyone else's answers kind of combined with a bit more references in. So, yeah. What makes Spider-Man Spider-Man is the fact that he, she, pig, zombie is relatable. Spider-Man experiences loss. They make tough decisions. They stuff up. They fail, but no matter what happens, they always get back up. They show that no matter what situation they are in, they can always come back. Us watching, reading, playing as Spider-Man can aspire to be better because if Spider-Man can do it, then so can I. Spider-Man makes us believe that we can be Spider-Man and that we can be greater. He makes us
believe there's a hero in all of us that keeps us honest, gives us strength, makes us noble, and finally allows us to die with pride, even though sometimes we have to be steady and give up the thing we want the most, even our dreams.
Spider-Man is the best of all of us. So if you're watching this video to try and find a true answer to the question, this isn't it. But if you're here to find out what others think, then I hope you enjoyed it.
Now, if you did enjoy this video, I've got two more very much like it. One's a One Marvelous Scene video, and the other one is putting the feedback into Minecraft. Now, thank you to person 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, you know who you are. Thanks for helping me with this video. This video's been in the work for months, and I'm really glad it's out, and I hope it was good. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go and watch Spider-Man 2. I recommend you also watch it as well. It's pretty good.